being just to whet your appetite, just to give you a sense of like, okay, this is the sort of vibe for these different journaling prompts, and you can always continue with them on
I'm going to
own.
ask if you could please close your eyes. This is a little visualization exercise. If you could please close your eyes. And we're going to do a fun little exercise where you are imagining yourself walking up a mountain and going into this huge cavern, a really, really big cave. And you walk into the cave and you see that there are three little mirrors in the cave. And you go up to the first mirror and you see yourself in the first mirror. But you don't just see yourself. You see yourself 3 years older, 3 years from now. And you see yourself living your absolute dream life in the domain of yourself. So your health, your hobbies, your personal growth. And you're in the perfect shape of your life, in whatever physical and mental health you would like to be in. In the mirror, you see yourself doing a hobby that you've been personally really, really interested in, that brings you loads and loads of joy. And you can sense, looking at yourself in this mirror, that you have personally grown in so many ways over the last 3 years. That is the first mirror. The mirror of your dream life 3 years from now, in the domain of yourself, i.e. your health, your hobbies, and your growth. Then you go to the next mirror. You look at yourself in mirror number 2. And mirror number 2 is your dream life 3 years from now in the domain of work. So you're 3 years older, and you can just tell, based on how you're standing, based on what you're wearing, that you are having a really, really fulfilled time at work. And you are doing that thing for work. You're doing that thing that you've always wanted to do, and you made it happen in the last 3 years. And you're so proud of yourself for making that happen and for having the impact in the world that you have. You're making as much money as you want to be making, you're working with people you love, you're doing work you love. That's your reflection in the work mirror. And then you go off to the side and you see mirror number 3. And mirror number 3 shows you 3 years from now with thriving relationships. It's sort of like the mirror in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. You see your friends and your family. You see the most important relationships close to you. And you see those relationships absolutely thriving 3 years from now. And you can feel yourself being fulfilled with the glow of these happy relationships that you have all around you. So, if you could open your eyes. This is the 3-year dream exercise. We're going to be writing down what you saw in those mirrors. So you visualize your dream life 3 years from now in the 3 areas of self, work, and relationships. And we're going to be writing this stuff down. So self, what does your best self look like 3 years from now? Imagine your health, your energy, your mindset, and daily habits 3 years from now. Are you vibrant, confident, and living in alignment with your values? Then you have the work mirror. Picture yourself thriving in your career or passion project. What are you creating, building, or contributing to? How do you feel about the impact you're making and the fulfillment you're experiencing? And then relationships. Visualize your connections with the people who matter most. What does your relationship with loved ones, friends, and your community look like? How do you feel in those interactions, and how do they enrich your life? So what I would do for this is we're going to put a 5-minute timer and basically just write as much as you possibly can in each of these 3 categories. Feel free to do it in a notes file. Feel free to do it pen and paper. We're just going to try and just write down as much as we possibly can our dream life 3 years from now in these 3 different categories. And we're going to do a 5-minute timer. Let's go. Alrighty, so that brings us to the end of this exercise. Again, this is probably not enough time to do this properly. That's not the goal. The goal is for us to simply give you an appetite for like, oh shit, you can do an exercise like this. And if you take the time to step outside of your general normal environment and think about this stuff really, really helps. It really helps us figure out where do we actually want to go. Where do we actually want to go? Because, as we said at the start of the course, there is nothing more heartbreaking than being super, super productive and efficient and realizing once you've achieved your goals that those weren't actually the goals you wanted to achieve for yourself. They were goals that you were either just floating along because you happened to have been floating along that path, or goals that society or family or friends or whatever told you that you should have.